Hi, this is Jim Obermeyer, and we're talking about covenant. Blood covenant, specifically. Now, what is a blood covenant? Well, first of all, let's find out what the word covenant is. The word covenant means an agreement between two parties. A blood covenant, if you look it up, it actually symbolizes an agreement between God and mankind. God made a blood covenant with mankind. Now you say, where is that in the Bible? Well, the first place that we actually see something alluding to it is Cain and Abel, where Cain and Abel went to offer sacrifice. Cain offered the sacrifice of the grain that he was growing, which is not blood, and Abel offered a lamb, a blood sacrifice. Now you say, well, why is that required? Why would God require a blood sacrifice? Well, the answer is in the book of Leviticus. And the answer to that is that the life of the flesh, the Bible tells us, is in the blood. Your life is in your blood. You say, well, no, it's in my brain. Well, your brain couldn't function without blood, could it? Your body couldn't function without blood. You wouldn't be alive without blood. The life of the flesh is in the blood. And God requires the shedding of blood for covenant. And it's in every area of life that's meaningful. And we'll talk about it later, but even in a marriage covenant, there is a shedding of blood in the first act of that marriage, usually if it's a virgin. So blood covenant is required, and God requires it for the forgiveness of sin because of the fact that we have failed, that we have sinned, we have disobeyed God's commandments, and there has to be the shedding of blood. So in the old covenant, there was the shedding of blood. An interesting thing is in the Abrahamic covenant, Abraham shed blood. Now, there's a whole story about Abraham possibly sacrificing his son, but that was just basically not the way it was to happen. God never really wanted him to sacrifice his son, Isaac. God wanted there to be a shedding of blood, but it was not to be his son. God provided a lamb, and that's a story in itself that I'll tell another time. But there has to be shedding of blood, and that's why Jesus, who is God become man, God come in the flesh, shed his blood, perfect blood, because his Father was God, once and for all, shed for our sins and our disobedience and our mistakes. That's blood covenant, and I'll talk about it more tomorrow. God bless you.